So I went back and checked out whether or not a party outran the polls 3 presidential election cycles in a row in the key battleground states. It's never happened. 0 times since 1972. So if the polls are going to underestimate Donald Trump once again, that would be historically unprecedented. And what do we see in 2022 in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin? Well, it turns out that the average poll in those states actually underestimated Democrats by 4 points. And I want to apply that to the electoral map, because if it turns out that the polls underestimate Donald Trump, or underestimated the Democrats, like they did in 2022, what happens? Well, Kamala Harris wins a sweep because she wins all these Great Lake battleground states. She wins down in the Southeast, and she wins down in the Southwest, and she gets the 319 electoral votes.
The only thing that is a saving grace for Kamala Harris here is that Donald Trump is running a really bad campaign. There's not any other way to put it. He's focused way too much on weird culture war shit that doesn't track. He's dropped the ball on communicating, if he had even a plan at all, honestly, on the economy. And he is ramped up the rhetoric over and over again to a degree where it's like genuinely gross for people. So much so that even though people don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, they still most likely will. Even if all the young people boycotting voting to support Palestine, do you think Kamala can still win? Yes. Yes, I do. And I have said this over and over again. Her chances of winning have gotten worse and worse the more she's presented herself to the American population. But I still do think that Kamala Harris has a chance of winning this election.
So here we are. This is the national race 1 week out. This is the snapshot.
And we say it's close, but I think one thing to keep in mind, too, is remember the last 2 elections when Donald Trump ran looked very different at this point. So Harris with an advantage nationally now on average of 1.1 points over Trump. 4 years ago, on this day, the national poll average was Joe Biden by 7.4 points. Look at that difference. Go back to 2016. On this day, Hillary Clinton's advantage was 4.6. So the polling has just been much tighter this time around.
Let's look at the battlegrounds. We vote by electoral college. Yep. This is where the votes really count. Show us about these swing states.
Yeah, and I mean, you could just see how tight they are. We have the candidate who's ahead sort of here, but the margins are so slim. One thing to think about, though, look at the 3 where Harris does have a small advantage. If she does hold Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, if there's no surprise anywhere else, she will have exactly 270 electoral votes. And from Trump's standpoint, look, the poll right now has him, the average has him slightly ahead in North Carolina, slightly ahead in Georgia. If he gets those 2, all he would need to get exactly 270 is to change Pennsylvania, where the average right now is just 0.6 of 1 point to Harris. Do that, and Trump has exactly 270.
Well, that explains why the candidates have been parked in Pennsylvania for the last couple months for the most part. Okay, let's talk about the gender gap, because it's really looking like this may well be the story of the election. Whose voters show up in greater number in terms of women and men?
And it's fascinating, Savannah, because our own NBC poll found this recently. Now our friends at CNBC with a new poll, again, showing what would be a historic gender gap among men.
See, when I see among women, I want to see some crosstabs. Does anyone have the crosstabs for this? What percentage of white women? I'm trying to see something. Because the fact that Donald Trump still has 41% support among women, that's a little crazy. That's a little crazy. If majority of white women are still voting for Donald Trump, Kamala Harris is losing this election. That I will say. I read gender lead for votes is significant, way more women so far in the early vote. I know. My suspicion is that a lot of women, look, the last bastion of hope for the Democratic Party is white women voting for Kamala Harris over the null day. All right. That's it. If that doesn't unwind, it's terrible. White women will save us? No, I'm not saying that at all. The question is, will white women save themselves? That's the question. Are they going to be deluded enough to be like, all the shit that I don't give a fuck about, okay, Kamala Harris is not good on, but the one thing that I should give a fuck about in terms of reproductive rights or whatever the fuck, right? If that is not enough of a motivator for white women, that's the peak of white feminism. What the fuck more do you want? That's it. Trump gains with Hispanic men, Harris up with white women, Reuters Ipsos poll shows. Former President Trump now trails Vice President Harris by 2 percentage points among Hispanic men, 44 to 46. Holy shit. Trump's gains have been offset by the increased support for Harris among white women, who favored him over Biden by 12 points in late 2020, but now lean Republican by 3 points, 46 to 43. Oh my God. Nope. More white women are still voting for Donald Trump. Never mind. Never mind. It's super dangerous to crosstab dive like this and make any conclusions. Like I said, new 10 polls showing the opposite, or a Hispanics only poll by Univision showing Harris up 5 over Biden's margin with them. It's a crapshoot. Lip Dishder is back. It's dangerous to crosstab dive. Okay, well, I'm looking at 41% of women still supporting Donald Trump. They've got to be coming from somewhere. Where are they coming from? Probably from the largest pool of voters, which happens to be from the white variety, right? How else does Donald Trump still have 41% of support from women? That's my suspicion. 41% by mass? No, that's what I'm saying. That's like, my point is, how is Trump still able to keep 41% of women? It's because there's a ton of white women out there. There's more white women than any other kind of woman in this country. There's more white people in this country than there are any other kind of person. And my point is, white women have voted for majority Trump in the last 2 elections. There was a white woman running for president, Hillary Clinton, and they still voted by like 54% for Trump. And then there was a white man that was running for president, and they still voted majority. I think it was like 52% for Trump. Or wait, is it 52 then 55? 41% is not a lot. Oh my God. In this election, 41% is a lot. It's definitely a lot. The difference now is Dobbs. Thank you. That's why I'm saying 41% is a lot. That's my point. That's my point. That's why I'm saying, like, will white women respond to Dobbs and actually fucking vote along their own self-preservation boundaries, as in the largest group of women voters are still white women? Will white women still go by majority numbers of Donald Trump, or will they vote for the Democrats? That's literally what I'm saying. Roe v. Wade, Roe v. Wade, Roe v. Wade, Roe v. Wade. That's Dobbs. Roe v. Wade. Plenty of white women voted against abortion access even before the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Oh my God. I know, guys. I know. And also, no, it's not even plenty, okay? It's half of the 30%. Please. So 15%. Like, you're ridiculous. Out of all those who voted, plenty of people voted for Donald Trump, not really thinking about abortion at the time. You are no longer making that decision. You're not making that choice. Abortion is the key issue in this election. The economy is significant as well, but abortion is the key issue. And if the majority of white women still go to Donald Trump, then it's cooked. That means white women are like, nah, f that. I don't care. I'm white first, woman second. By the way, I have seen people doubting in chat what Hasan is saying. He's right. In 2020, Biden won all women by 11%, but he lost white women by 7%. There you go. People don't understand how percentages work. White women still comprise around 60% of the entire women vote. So if the majority of white women are voting for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is making gains in Hispanic women too, he's not making gains in black women, obviously, but like he's making some gains in Hispanic women, and white women still overwhelmingly vote for him, that actually hurts Kamala's chances quite a bit, especially because this is the most resilient, most significant fucking difference between the two parties. Your misogyny is showing, Sweaty. Yeah, I know. Once again, my statement that no, I don't support all women. Some of them are very dumb. Rings true. This is true. Like, if you are a suburban lady and you don't give a f about Palestine, you don't give a f about anything, you're in like a comfortable situation overall, and you see one party over the other straight up be like, yeah, I don't care. I am literally interfering in your pussy. I am coming in and I am cutting the bond and your patient-doctor relationship that you have, and I'm going to interfere in that affair. And you're still like, yeah, I'm going to go with that party. You're a fucking idiot, dude. Like, many people make significantly more complicated decisions in their lives in terms of like who to vote for. Okay. There's a whole bunch of shit that they care about. All of these fucking people that Kamala Harris has been like trying to captivate, trying to capture, are the fucking suburban white ladies. You're forgetting religion. Guys, abortion is not popular, okay? Anti-abortion is not popular. Stop saying you're forgetting religion. Oh my God. There has never been a poll where it is polled over 25%. Please stop. It's not religion. It's not religion, okay? It's not. There are plenty of fucking Christians who also don't give a fuck about the government interfering in abortion. My mom is a white woman and claims to be a feminist and has had an abortion. She's pro-life but believes Israel should have carpet bombed. Israel should have carpet bombed Israel? You mean Israel should have carpet bombed Gaza? A lot of them are hypocrites. I know. As someone from Alabama, I disagree with your analysis that Christians aren't against abortion. I don't know what the latest numbers look like in Alabama, but I'm willing to f***ing bet that even in a deep red state like f***ing Alabama, where the literacy rate is like 10%, people still are like, yeah, maybe you should be able to get a f***ing abortion. Majority, okay? There is not a single state in this goddamn nation where protecting a woman's right to choose is not the majority, overwhelming majority. Views about abortion among adults in Alabama. Illegal in all/most cases. Legal in all/most cases. When is this from? Live debunk. Yeah, most likely pre-Dobbs. Yeah, Missouri abortion ballot measure is going to pass. It's 52% for, 34% against. Thank you. Kansas, Kentucky, Ohio. Do you understand? Florida. I mean, Florida makes sense. Texas, protecting abortion in the form of a ballot measure always passes. Nearly 2 in 3 Americans believe abortion should be legal. Alabama political reporter. In Alabama, 55% of people surveyed supported abortion being legal in most or all cases, while only 12% support abortion being illegal in all cases. That is from a more recent survey, March 1st, 2023. That survey that you sent me is probably a much older survey. The Pew survey was from 2014. 2014. Now, I didn't have access to that information. I didn't know that that survey was done in 2014. How did I assume it was? Is it because I had the gift of foresight? No. It's because I understand what things look like. Stop relying on your coworkers. Anecdotes from your coworkers are not an adequate substitute for empirical evidence, for data. You talk to like 8 of your dumbest coworkers that are, spending a shitload of time on Twitter, and then you turn around and you're like, nah, you don't understand. I live in Alabama and every single one of my coworkers was anti-abortion. It's like, okay, so what? I work at the Anti-Abortion Corporation in Alabama. All of my coworkers at the racism factory love Donald Trump and also love denying women the right to choose. Democrat, yeah, that was another one. Democrat who ran heavily on abortion rights and IVF wins Alabama special election. I wonder how that happened. Now do you understand how come it changed so much so fast? What do you mean? Guys, what do I always say? 90% of Republicans vote for Republicans, and when asked about the impact of the legislative agenda of the Republican Party, they say, that's not real. You're making it up. That's it. They don't know what they are voting for. But once actual changes happen and people start fearing for their lives, then there is no obscurity. There is no more obscurity. Everybody knows the Republican Party, specifically the Trump Republican Party, took away this medical access. And if you got a pussy in Alabama or Missouri or Kentucky or Kansas, unless you are the most brain broken dipshit on the fucking planet, you're like, God damn, I might fucking die. I might not be able to get this medical procedure now. That's a very different calculation than voting for Trump because you think he's going to save America, voting for Trump because you think that he's, doing this or that. It's a very different calculation that you're making post-Dobbs. That's why I'm shocked that like white women still are just like, yeah, I got a pussy, but fuck it. Maybe I'll die from an ectopic pregnancy. I'm voting for Trump. Like, how the fuck do you make that calculation? That's actually insane. Like, I don't understand that. White women are white first, okay? They literally forget that they're women, I think, sometimes. Like, what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. You don't think religiosity plays into this at all? Dude, America is nowhere near as religious as you make it out to be. Please stop with this bullshit. We are literally held captive by like an increasingly shrinking demographic of sociopaths. What the are you talking about? Religiosity? Church attendance is at an all-time low. Americans keep reporting, more and more Americans keep reporting that they do not believe in anything. Okay, there's no religion. The Republicans are constantly crying about that, and you're still like, no, religiosity is the reason. No, there's a shit ton of different reasons. One of the major reasons is just awful dog shit education. Someone said, The evangelical vote is representative of the white supremacist vote, not the religious vote. Thank you. You're right on the money with that. Evangelicals literally became an active voting bloc with the moral majority, Paul Weyrich, that demonic scumbag. It was a Catholic himself, by the way, not even an evangelical Protestant, who activated the evangelical Protestant base on the grounds that they did not want to go to school. They did not want their children to go to school with black children. Okay, that's it. The American evangelical movement as an active political bloc has always been one that cares about white supremacy. That's it. There's no argument there. You cannot argue with me on like religiosity. Like, they don't give a they voted for Trump. What do you mean? He's like the Antichrist. What are you talking about? Religiosity. It has always been and will always be about enforcing segregation. Okay? It will always be about racial domination. They literally got on the scene because they wanted to keep schools segregated, okay? They used religion for dummies to be like, no, it's our religious freedoms to keep our schools what? It's fucking ridiculous. You should go to the South. I think your opinion would change a lot of religious people still. Dude, remember what I just told you about the Alabama chatter who was like, I don't understand. Like, a lot of my coworkers or a lot of the people around me anecdotally, don't want abortion to be legal. And I told you that you cannot substitute anecdotes for data because it will cause you to have sampling biases. It will cause you to paint a false reality. It's the same. This is my argument for you is the exact same. I respectfully disagree. Okay, sure. Yes, Southerners are all fucking religious cousin fucking monsters and they all hate abortion. Please do not look at the data. Please do not look at the many ballot measures that will pass with overwhelming majority support in each and every one of these red states.